Welcome back to this episode of The Sugar Show, everyone. I am Shannon, your sugar mama, and this is my favorite part, is talking about the success in this industry, because we have been working a long time to try to get you all trained up in sugar, but that really means it needs to translate into success. And so I started the Sweet Success series 5 or 6 seasons ago. We're in our 6th season now, so about 5 seasons ago, I started doing the Sweet Success series to introduce you to other folks that have really taken sugaring to the next level and are killing it in their businesses. They're sugar bosses and have not only learned how to mold and flick properly, but have learned how to build their businesses so that they can be successful. And some of them are working part-time now and killing it and making 6 figures. Some of them are young moms. Some of them are second careers, and they're making this business work for them and thriving, not just surviving in it. So I am very thrilled that this episode of The Sugar Show, and episodes to come are going to be in 2 halves. The first half is going to be the Sweet Success story, and this month it is with Kasey Reynolds, who is the owner and operator of Sugar Junkie, sugarjunkie.com. All her show notes will be in the links below. And Kasey has 3 locations that she has just been so busy in. One, she had to expand and make it better for her clients to not have to drive so far. And so then she also found a location on an island. Then she will tell you about that next. But Kasey is a go-getter, and she really manifested her fate. And I want you to hear her story today, because I think that some of you are really dreaming, you're putting your vision boards together, you're really asking yourself if this is something you can do. And I think hearing a story like Kasey's really is helpful for you to understand what the next level is, and how you can take, if you're a beauty student, what you do first. If you are someone who's been working for someone else, how do you go solo? If you're a solo, how do you go to the next thing? And Kasey really has just killed it in this industry, and she is now an educator with Love to Sugar using Rodic Lab pastes. And so it is my honor to introduce you to Kasey Reynolds. Kasey, my girl, it is your turn to share your sweet success. I am so excited to finally have you on the show, and just let everyone understand who you are and what you're all about. So welcome to the Sugar Show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's, we talk about this all the time. Like, I got to get you on the Sugar Show. I got to get you on the podcast. And you're like, I'm here working away. You just let me know when you need me, and it is your turn. So,
hey.
Yeah, congratulations. I imagine it's pretty cool to realize, because we work so hard, that you're actually a sweet success in this. It's been a long journey for you.
It has.
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning. And I've told them a little bit about you, but let's start from the beginning. Before you were even an esthetician, what did you do before you were an esthetician? Talk to us about the pre-beauty journey for Kasey.
Well, let's see. I used to work in the 911 system as an EMT on an ambulance in Arizona for about 12 years. And I loved the job, but it was just so exhausting. I had to figure out what else that I needed to do, what I wanted to do. So that's what I did in the very beginning. I also had an event planning business on the side as well. So
yeah, rescuing people, event planning, it's all good.
Yeah.
So you're laying awake, you're thinking, okay, this is challenging. I'm doing all these things, but at what point did the calling come to go to beauty school?
Well, I was on vacation and I had never had a Brazilian before, and it was at the beach, and I thought, yeah, I'll just go get one. I'll run down the street and get one. And so I went and got them waxed. And as I was laying there, I thought I could do this, because I was trying to figure out what to do with myself. I just didn't know where I was going. I had been in as an EMT for so long. Where was I going to go? So I went and got a Brazilian, and I called my husband and I said, I'm going to esthetician school when I get back. And I did. I signed up, and 2 months later I was in school. So that's kind of where it began.
Was he just used to you coming home with all your crazy, this is what I'm doing in my life ideas?
Oh yeah. When we first got married, he would come home and the whole living room would be rearranged. So yeah, I'm kind of spur of the moment.
I kind of feel like I should have a podcast for all the spouses. What it's like to be the spouse of a creative. what
Yeah,
it's like to be
exactly.
what it's like to be the spouse of someone who's constantly changing her life path. But I love that about you because you only live once. This life is so short. And if you don't try those new things, then how will you ever know? And you'll be stuck doing that thing that, you thought you wanted to do for a minute. And how many
Right.
years ago was that?
Let's see. It's been 10 or 12 years since I went to school.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. It feels like yesterday and forever ago
Yeah.
all the time. Okay. So you go to school, you decide you like it. Did you like the skincare piece and you added hair removal? Did you always just want to be a waxer? Like, how did that start?
I think I always wanted to be a waxer. The facials were fun, but I'm not a quiet person, so I don't want to sit there. I want to talk. I like to talk during all my sugaring sessions. So more of the waxing side was where I started. And then once I started, I didn't actually like the waxing. So then I was like, great, now what I'm going to do. It was stressful. I was afraid I was going to hurt somebody. And then I had to do a paper on all the different hair removal methods. And I
Okay.
saw sugaring and I'm like, what the heck is this? So I found a class within 2 weeks and I signed up, dragged six of my fellow students with me, and we took a sugaring course and I was hooked. I knew that was what it was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you're in school, you're sugaring, which 10 years ago, like it wasn't as popular as it is now. So that was a
Right.
pretty feat, right?
hmm
So you graduate from school. What's the very first thing you did out of beauty school?
Well, before I graduated, I rented a room in a sports massage place and I started sugaring people to practice. I didn't charge any money, but I
Okay.
just practiced. By the time I got out of school, I was ready to go. And I was
Okay.
already certified, ready to go, ready to sugar and hit the road. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All
And
right.
that's
So
my first original sugar junkie lives in Arizona.
in
That's where it
Arizona.
started the
Okay. How
name.
did you come up with the name?
I I don't know. I just knew I wanted it to be something catchy
Uh-huh.
and different. And I knew it was something I wanted people to be addicted to. And there you have it.
And that's what a junkie is.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it. And play on words, right? Because sugar junkies usually eat cookies and
Right.
we smooth cookies, they eat cookies. Okay, so you get out of school, now did you start just on your own? Like how did you or like were you in the back of a salon? Like how did you find your first location and decide on that?
I did start on my own. I stayed in that massage room for about 6 months and then we decided to move to California. And we moved here and I didn't
Okay.
know anybody. So I got a little part-time gig sugaring for like 4 or 5 months and I was ready to go on my own. So I just took the plunge and rented a really crappy place and went from there. So the first place I rented was $800 a month and there was no walls and no air conditioner, no heater, and it was upstairs and it was interesting. So I stayed there for
You
a
had
year.
to get really good at soft paste.
Oh, I did. I learned like in the winter it was super cold and in the summer it was super hot. So I learned really fast about the science of sugar right there. So
Okay, all right. And so you're sugaring away, you're sweating, you're freezing, you're like against the elements. So if there's anyone that can sugar in bad weather and bad environment, it is Kasey. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask her. Okay, so you're sugaring along, and at what point did you decide to like take the next step to bump? So let me back up really quick. How did you put together like your first kind of nest egg to start this? Did you just say, okay, I'm going to invest some money? Did you put a business plan together? Do you wish you would have put a business plan together? Like looking back, what would you tell 10 years ago, Kasey, now that you've kind of gone through all of this? And then we'll kind of keep going.
I don't I don't know that I would have done it any other way. I mean, I started the whole thing with $500
Trial by
and
fire.
yeah, 500 bucks and borrowed some money for the first month's rent from my husband because I was going to do it all on my own and just went from there. And just as I grew, I just bought different things I needed. And after that year, it was time to move to the next step up space. And so I found a great location and it was massive. And I thought, what am I going to do with all the space? And it used to be a dry bar. So I decided to go Sugar Junkie Beauty Lounge and put hair. And so I had hairstylist and a nail technician, and they were helping pay the rent at that point. So I took a risk, but at the same time, I had people helping pay the rent.
Yeah, which is
That's
helpful.
kind of why, yeah.
They're a different, it's a different environment though to have hair and hair dryers blowing and
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
and the client comes down the hallway and gets up on your bed, and you look and there's hair all over your sheets, and you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah,
yeah,
so much
yeah,
better now.
yeah, very different. Okay, so at what point did you decide to be done with kind of the lounge hair nails thing? Glad you
After
did it, but ready to be done.
after that lease was done, I moved to downtown Ventura, and
Okay.
that's when I was ready to be done. I sort of rebranded, didn't become, I wasn't the beauty lounge anymore. I was just Sugar Junkie, sugaring studio, and then just was all sugar and some facials, and it was great. I loved
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So,
And so was it just you or did you have a staff of sugar professionals?
before I moved, when I was still doing hair, I had hired one girl right before COVID, and we all know what happened with that. And so when I moved to the next location and rebranded, I had her, but it was right after COVID and we exploded. We were so busy. I just had to keep hiring to keep up with it. And
Yeah.
I was still sugaring full time at the time
Yeah.
myself. So,
So, okay, so you're in Ventura, you're killing it. People from COVID are like, I have 70s bush. Please, dear God, will you, hire some more people to handle the load? So congrats to you for making it through. I mean, that right there is a sweet success story. I know that that was a lot for all of us owners, especially in California. I won't get into politics, but that was tough times.
yeah,
So kudos to you because that's a huge accomplishment to have gotten through a pandemic and still come out the other side. So that's
yeah, for
incredible.
sure.
Okay, so the journey takes you then where?
So then from there, I hired a few more employees, and then that lease got up. I'm really not a nomad. And then we moved into the location we have now. Oh, actually, while I was still in that downtown location, almost 3 years ago, I opened up my second location in Camarillo, which is about 25 minutes away.
Okay. So there are some folks that are listening to this that are like, okay, I have a small location. I've always wanted to have one in another city. Because I know I'm in Folsom, California, and about 30 minutes away is Sacramento, Elk Grove, Roseville, and people are like, you should franchise Sugar Mamas, right? And so I kind of always had to ask myself what it was that I wanted to do. For me, I did not want to expand because I knew I was going to do the teaching route, right? So
Right.
for me, I just wanted this little space that I'm in here, and I just wanted to make that as tight as possible, make it as, profitable as possible, and then be able to go out and teach, which was my path. But how did you decide to pull the trigger on the next city? How did that come about for you?
I think I had a lot of clients coming from all different cities all the way to Ventura. I still have clients coming from Malibu, which is a good 45-minute drive. I had people coming from Camarillo and then up further down, east towards the 101 from like Thousand Oaks and all these different locations. And I thought, well, if they're driving all the way over here, I should put something halfway between us, and then that's kind of why I did that. And we were also busy. And in Ventura, we only had 2 rooms. So we were booked solid all the time, and we
Yeah.
just needed to expand. So
Yeah.
that's kind of initially what drove that.
Okay. All right. And so did you take your investment? I'm trying to, give people kind of a snapshot. Did you take some of your savings to start this next one, or did you start it as a second company? Kind of how did you, it was all Sugar Junkie. So you took one to invest in the other,
Yeah. Yeah.
not your
Basically.
personal money.
Right.
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 Good.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. I think it's just to kind of not go into debt to do it, but just try to take what you have saved and go that route because it's expensive. It costs to do a full cute salon with like 3 rooms. It's probably 50 grand to make it cute.
To do it the right
That's
way.
a
Yeah.
lot.
order all the equipment and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and market it and things.
Mm-hmm.
And so what type of a business structure are you? Are you an LLC? Are you a corporation?
I'm neither, because in the state of California, you can't be a corporation or an LLC in the business that we're in. So I am a sole proprietor.
You're a sole proprietor. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you have 2 locations. What are you, and then we'll talk about your next location. What are you looking for in a sugaring professional when you hire them? Are you looking for someone who always already has a clientele and already knows how to sugar? Or are you hiring to skills or you're hiring to like personalities?
I've done it both ways. Um, I've completely started from the beginning, hired for someone that is a great fit for us, and taken them from no skill at all the way up to having really great skills. And that's really hard.
Yeah,
Um, it takes a lot. So
yeah,
most of the girls I have are personally trained by me from day one.
yeah,
I've realized now is that it's better for them to take your course and get the basics done and get them practicing, and then they come to me and I can help them with the rest. But
yeah,
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 it's challenging. But
yeah.
so I guess yes, I do want personality and someone that kind of meshes with the team. We don't have any drama here, and I don't want any drama. And
Yeah.
I love all the girls that work with us. They're just great girls. So
I love that you say that they work with you and not for you because, if you can create an environment of support and love and, and hard work, because let's talk about that. This isn't for the faint of heart opening locations and
no,
sugaring and, and having staff. I mean, it's hard
it's
work.
a
The
lot.
first one
Yeah.
there and the last one to leave.
Oh yeah. Yeah, all the memes you see with the owners walking in the door and you think they're coming in and they grab a cup of coffee from their staff, but really it's carrying in huge packages and tripping down the sidewalk. And yeah, it's a lot, but I love it.
I'm
So
constantly doing orders and
I know.
fixing equipment and
Oh yeah. Oh
it's
yeah.
not glamorous, that's for
No.
sure. That's for
No.
sure. Okay, so then you decide, okay, there's a need somewhere else magical, and how does that come about?
So the next location, my son moved to Hawaii and we visited there a lot. And we were there one time on one of our trips, and I told my husband we should open a shop here and let's just look around and see like what we can find. And he's like, okay, and thinking that it wasn't gonna happen. And the
We should
first,
know
like,
you by
I
now.
know, I
We
know.
should know you.
The first shop we went to, it was perfect. So there, I just rented a room, like it was like a co-op, a beauty co-op. And so I didn't want to invest the 50 grand into somewhere where I don't really know much about it. And I
Sure.
just opened a small one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how that one came about. I've had that one for almost 2 years.
On Oahu.
Yeah, in Kailua. Yeah,
I think we need to do a field trip, Casey.
I think so. And we need
I
to
think
open
we do.
more.
I know, right? Let's do more of the islands. Okay, so you have these locations. You like what are you seeing in the last 10, 12 years? What are you seeing different now in the beauty industry?
Mm. Well, I think that we've done facials before too. I would say 90% of our clients are sugar clients, but we've done fairly well at facials. But I think sort of with the economy the way it is, people are tending to drop more of those expensive
Yeah,
treatments.
yeah,
And the ticket's larger, but we have more consistency with sugaring.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I'm kind of seeing that fade. I'm seeing like eyelash extensions fade.
Oh yeah,
Just people are tending to go more towards the natural. It's becoming more normal now than it used to be. It used
yeah.
to be you were kind of weird if you like the natural stuff, but
A granola.
yeah, exactly.
And now people are like, I just don't want to be burned by wax, and I really don't want to lay here for fake lashes. Like they're like, okay, so I'm going to go all natural.
And it's cheaper. People can afford it. It's more of a necessity, I think, to be sugared than it is to get those other things. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm choosing.
Sure, sure. So let's talk about your supplies for a minute. and we don't need to talk about who you used before because we love all the sugar companies.
Yes.
But I met you because, well, for a while back, we did some one-on-one coaching together, which was fun. But when we kind of resurfaced back together, you were killing it and doing, you're like, what is this Roddick paste? What is this? What's
Mhm.
happening here? Shannon, something is different, which it was kind of a fun time for me to watch all of you start to, find Roddick Labs and just feel the difference. And again, we love all the sugar companies. We support them. We just want people to be sugaring and putting down the wax stick.
Right.
So I will share that with all of you. But at what point did you say, wow, something's different here. I need to switch over, besides the fact that it matches your colored skin perfectly?
Yeah, that was definitely a positive note. The I just knew he was different. Like it was a different sugar. First of all, they didn't use lemon, and I loved that. And I just knew it was just a different product with the probiotics in it. It was
Mhm.
very appealing to me because I'm into probiotics, prebiotics, vitamins.
Mhm.
I'm into all that stuff, and so I just knew it was going to be a great product. And so I was really excited to get some, and I ordered it, and it was amazing. It's my favorite. I've
Were you
used a,
surprised? Were you surprised the first time you used it and it got every single hair in one
yeah,
flip?
yes.
And
Even the girls noticed it too.
oh yeah, and I've been doing it a long time, and I was like, I called my manager. I'm like, Veronica, come here. Like, watch this. Look at this magical wizardry.
It's amazing. It's very
Yeah,
stretchy and not sticky, and it's great.
yeah, yeah. And so, I mean, because that's a big production to switch out your entire line for a different line in multiple locations.
Yeah, not to mention that I needed to get different sugar warmers too.
He's working on that. He's working on
Yeah.
that. But yes, yes, there are a few more now that hold the warmers or hold the jars. But yeah, that was a bit of a production in the beginning. Sorry about that.
But it was worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted to become an educator for a long time, and I waited, 10 years before I actually reached out to him and I wanted to educate for him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, you're stuck with me.
I love it. I'm
I
glad.
know, I know we have a good time. So you're teaching now, and at what point did you say, I really need to teach now? Because I mean, you're a busy, multi-talented woman. You don't have to teach. Why do you choose to teach?
I guess I want to give a little back. I feel like sugaring has made my life has been great. And I want to give back to everybody else and help them and inspire them. And I think that as an esthetician, there's a lot of us around. And I think we need a special niche to be successful. And I knew sugaring was going to be mine. And I want to help other people become successful because there's so many people that become estheticians and don't do anything with it. And I want people to do it. Plus, I want sugaring to be great. I remember telling my director at my school, I'm going to name it Sugar Junkie, and I'm going to let everybody know that sugaring is the best. And I just emailed her not too long ago, and she remembered who I was. So I just want to share my knowledge. You learn a lot over the years, and you want to share what you have. So.
Yeah. Really this life is about paying it forward. And if you can, like, why bottle it up and not share it, And that's what I felt, same thing about when you were starting to be an esthetician is when I started this teaching journey. And I remember just thinking, I've got to get to more people. In fact, one of the places was Hawaii, and they were like, is there any chance you'd come to Hawaii and teach us? This was about 12 years ago. And I had two small children. And I was like, love to go to Hawaii to teach you, but I've got kids. I can't, which is how iSugar University was born, was
Ah,
I needed to be able to get to those people in different, states and different islands.
sure.
How the first online course was built.
Wow.
It was 14 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
What year was it? It was 2014, 11 years ago, 11 years ago, 14 years
I
ago.
remember when you first came out too.
Yeah, yeah, it's 11 years ago. And gosh, it's just blowing by. But I love that I mean, you really could rest on your laurels and just enjoy your locations and, eat bonbons sitting at your desk there in your office. But you don't. You choose to pay it forward. And, I think you would agree the joy and accomplishment on a student's face when they get that mold and flick right and they
Mm-hmm.
start to like their hand and their brain starts to connect is like no other. Tell us
Right.
about some of the students that you have that have done really well in your experience with them.
Well, let's see. I mean, I think, like you said, it's so fun to watch them grasp the concept, and you always learn and you get better and better and better. I'm still learning things as I go along and try new things. But it's been really great to see them be successful and start their journey and be as an esthetician. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's been
Yeah.
fun.
I love it. I love it. So Kasey is on our team, our education team, as I've mentioned in the introduction. And, Case, what are you looking forward to in 2025 as far as teaching, like advanced Brazilian? What's your niche? What's your, what do you got in store for the students of Southern California?
Well, I want to start doing a tips and tricks also, once a week. I really want to help people like legs better. A lot of people don't like doing legs, and I feel like I'm good at them. So I would like to do that, and maybe also some Brazilian teaching as well. I
Hmm.
think there's definitely some room for people to grow in that area.
Yep.
Um, so that's kind of my goal for there. I'd like to be able to bring people into the studio and, teach
You have
them
a
how to
beautiful
do well.
location.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to do.
A lot going on in 2025. We'll be teaching a lot in Southern California. Twist my arm. Uh,
Yeah.
and Kasey, I'm just really proud to say that you're a part of our team
Oh,
because
thanks.
you are truly just a special human. You have just a heart of gold. You are cool as a cucumber. You're just like the coolest. When you say there's no drama, like I believe you, there is no drama at your shop. Like you are just so calm, cool, and collected. Like there's just like a force about you that's just like you're not over the top. You just like call a spade and you're just in it. So it has been an honor working with you
Thank you as well.
this last year, and I am looking forward to teaching by your side live this year. And I am just thankful that you decided to switch that career. I'm sorry for those folks that aren't going to get saved by you in the dispatch center, but I'm, really grateful that you have decided to switch your career, and I know your clients are, and that you've decided to join our team because that's what this is about: is finding people that have that passion and that drive and that want to pay it forward. And so if you are someone in the Southern California area, that audience that is, or you want to fly into Southern California, I would do that.
Yeah.
Or even, when you have your class in Hawaii that maybe we, wink, wink, need to do together, we'll be in Hawaii. And the idea is to, just put your best foot forward. And maybe soon you can have, a similar sugar junkie business model like Kasey does. And it's possible. So Kasey, any like parting comments that you have for the crew that's listening and maybe walking their dog and going, oh, I've always wanted to do this, but I don't know. Could I open my own place? Your answer to them is,
I think you just have to take chances. You have to believe it's going to happen. I'm a huge, huge manifestation belief person. Putting it out there is huge. Like even I have a little board next to me, my 2025 goals for 2025. So I think just you have to work hard. You can't just go and open up a business and have it happen. I worked 6 days, 12-hour days for a lot of years. Um, and I just believed it was always going to be successful. And I think that's a huge part to put the work in it and then to believe it as well, and that you can do it and you
yeah,
can do it.
for sure. Mama, thank you so much for being on the show.
You.
And like I said, I look forward to seeing you soon. Hey, Sugar Pros, I hope that you enjoyed our time with Kasey. She is, like I said, just cool as a cucumber. She is a powerhouse and she is kicking it and taking names. And I really want to introduce you to these folks so that you can be inspired that you can do it too. But one of the things that you do need to know every single month is a little bitty tidbit about the business building itself. So if you are someone who is an independent contractor or you have your own corporation or LLC, this second half is for you. Or if you're somebody that's planning on having a business, this second half is for you because we're going to talk about financial foundations and setting up your sugar business for success. So my goal, as you know, is to help you grow and thrive and create just the best sugar business of your dreams. And this month, we're going to dive into this important topic, which is financial management, which is really the biggest elephant in the room, because a lot of times, let's get real, money matters. And a lot of times we get just nervous about talking about money and we don't want to deal with it, so we just sweep it under the rug. You can be the best sugaring professional ever, but if you don't have a solid handle on your finances, it's really hard to build a sustainable and profitable business. You won't even know if you're profitable because you're just churning and burning, right? So we're just going to touch a little bit today on budgeting and financial foundations, because where we dive into the meat and do the actual work, as you know, is in our Sugaring Business Blueprint, and that's the website. I'll have links in the show notes. But really, we want to dive into the meat in the class, and I'm going to give you an overview, a bird's eye view of what I'm talking about. So you've heard about, you should have a budget, in your life for a long time, I'm sure. But A, are you actually doing one? And B, are you actually following one? Because, in the beginning of the year, we can have all these grand plans and then off. But really, we're going to cover budgeting. We're going to cover pricing so that you can make a profit. We're going to talk about cash flow, if you even know what that is, and then planning for the tax man. And then I want to share some tools and tips to make your finances, less overwhelming. So, if you need to pause this for a minute and take a quick break, I know this is a lot of information, but we want to unpack your month so that you have a lot that you can be listening to and learning from. So let's get to it. Grab your Sugar Boss planner if you haven't already. I'll have the link in the show notes below. If you do not have a planner, we want to make sure that you are planning your best year yet. So grab that planner and let's get involved. So why does it matter to really understand financial foundations? Maybe you're not a business major in college, or it's just not your wheelhouse. Where I'm telling you, it better be your wheelhouse, and pretty quick if you decide that you want to be doing this on your own. If you decide to be an employee, let me just give you a shout out, because that is a really good choice in the beauty industry. You can be working at a place like mine. You can be an employee with protections, and they pay, take your taxes out for you, and they provide the supplies and the space, and they're the ones that worry at night whether or not the lights are on, and you don't have to worry about that. But if you are someone who's like, nope, I want to go on my own, this is what I want to do, money is the backbone of any business. And if you fool yourself to think that you are a really good sugar pro, it's just going to happen, and you don't have a clear understanding of your finances, you cannot make an informed decision like Kasey did on whether or not opening a new location, opening the next location, or the third location is even a good choice. Okay, so I want you to take a moment to reflect, because I'm often shocked at my students when I ask them, how do you currently manage your business finances? Do you feel confident, or do you avoid looking at the numbers? Remember, awareness is the first thing that you need to have. And opening the lid and taking a look down in and saying, okay, I need to do something with this pot of, soup or whatever it is, but financial soup. The idea is to really have those conversations, get a solid bookkeeper, make sure you have an accountant. We go through this every year when I am coaching all of you, and really is to say, you know what, I'm going to put down my fear for a minute, and I am going to treat this not as a personal reflection, but as a business reflection. Pull up your big girl boss pants and let's get to it. Okay. So it matters to be financially sound. It sounds crazy, but a lot of you I talk to, you've been like running your business with your personal accounts and you don't split them out, or you don't have a budget, or you haven't paid taxes in a few years. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's start from there, right? We can do this, but we have to work strong and smart together. So first of all, I want you to absolutely have a budget. I'm going to dive into this in our business class, but please, please, please have a budget. And before you even start, you have to know how much this is going to cost and what you are going to need every month. Solo or employees in a large spot, you're going to have to know every month exactly how much money you need so that you're not treading water in times that are tight and you're like, why didn't I make it? Well, it's because you didn't have a handle on your money. If you are someone who has not had a handle on your money and your goal this year is to kill it in your business, well, then we're going to start by creating a budget, because it's really a roadmap for your business and it shows you where your money is coming from and where it's going. Simple seems, right? But we want to start by a list of our monthly expenses, rent, supplies, marketing costs, things like that, and then compare it to the money that's actually coming in. You should be doing this personally, but most important business-wise, because if you only have $5,000 a month coming in, but every month you're spending $7,000, you're going to be in a bad spot real quick. And what happens with our business money comes in every month, right? Well, if money's coming in every month and you are not accounting for it in that month, you're going to be in deep trouble. Okay. So we want to create a budget. We want to compare how much income you're making with how many expenses you have. And are you spending within your means? And we provide you a worksheet that is really going to help you put together a realistic budget that aligns with your financial goals. Okay. So that's creating a budget. Next, we want to talk about pricing. I get this question all the time. Are your services priced to cover your costs and generate a profit? If you're someone who's like, I don't really want to charge a lot, I'm just going to charge $25 for a Brazilian, you're not going to make it very long because your expenses are more than your costs, or more than what you're charging. So you are not going to make it, and I do not want to see you not make it in this industry. I want to interview you as a success story as well. So we need to make adjustments. If you're not making a profit, you calculate your cost per service, you include your supplies, your rent, your time, and then you set prices that reflect that value. And that way you can ensure profitability. That way you can stay open. Okay. So that's our goal, is to stay open and produce a profit every month. Now, let's talk about cash flow. Cash flow is the lifeblood of your business. Positive cash flow means that you have more money coming in than going out. Watching your spending, bringing in more clients. We're always trying to bring in more clients, right? But what are you spending when the clients are in there or not in there? That is cash flow. So we want to commit every week, which is why in your Sugar Boss Planner, every week we're taking a look at those numbers. We want to track those income and expenses for the week and identify trends and make adjustments as needed, because small changes can make a big impact over time. All right, this is the one that everybody hates. No one loves to talk about taxes, but this next one is taxes. And, it's the reality of doing business. Like, we have to pay taxes. I'm in California. I pay more taxes probably than all of you. But the idea is we need to make sure that we set aside a percentage of your income for taxes and keep detailed records and find out what's deductible, what's not deductible. We have podcasts on that. You can listen to Kanisha Coleman from last year talking about taxes. Same thing for this year. Some tax rules change things, but definitely go back. We'll link those episodes in the show notes with Kanisha Coleman, the Beauty CPA. But the idea is to save you time and stress when tax season rolls around. So in January, all I have to do is reconcile December, take a look at my whole month, and I'm ready to go with my 1099s, with all my documents for my bookkeeper. My bookkeeper and I are together, and then we're ready for the accountant. So my goal every year is to have everyone handled and paid and have my taxes done by February. So I'm not waiting until April. And I never do an extension, because that would be enough to make me crazy. So always want to be very organized. And really, can I make a suggestion? And the suggestion is, plan this at the first week of every month. So the first week of the month, I want you to reconcile the last month in your bank account. You should have QuickBooks or some sort of accounting software. If you don't know how to use it, get in touch with me and I'll help you. But you're going to want to get a banking or a budgeting software, accounting software, have your reconciliation done, and then take a look and say, okay, this is what I brought in. This is what my expenses were. Ooh, I got to kind of tighten it up a little bit. using a company where you don't have to use a lot of products. That's why I love Rock Lab. I use a tiny little ball of sugar to do a whole Brazilian. I'm actually saving money on my jars of Product Lab paste because I use less product, which is going to be better for my cash flow. Okay. And I'm going to be really taking the time to understand, okay, how much of these things can I write off? My products, my supplies, things like that. And I'm ready in tax season, so tax season doesn't come to bite me in the butt. Okay, listen, managing finances does not have to be overwhelming. It feels like it is, and it feels like you sort of have a handle on it, but you really don't. So you're just going to kind of ignore it until the next month or ignore it until the end of the year. And really, please get an accounting software. Please get the Sugar Boss Planner. Those things will be listed. We want you to stay organized and be on top of your numbers. So choose a tool, learn it, learn about QuickBooks, understand with a bookkeeper exactly how you can be dialed, and please commit to using it consistently. And if you do, you will be able to then set some financial goals for yourself. Instead of just being in survival mode, you'll be in thrive mode, which is where I'm at now, thankfully. And, maybe we increase your monthly income. Maybe you reduce expenses a little bit and you're not spending as much at the big trade show for the big equipment, right? Or maybe you're saving for new equipment. Write down at least 3 financial goals that you have for the next quarter. And the next quarter is the next 3 months, folks. We're already through. We're in February. We're in the middle of the quarter, right? So write down what your goals are, maybe for Q2. We always talk about the quarters, okay? Break them into actionable steps and track your progress, right? Okay. So Sugar Pros, I adore you, but I'm going to get real with you. A lot of you contact me and say, oh, I don't have a business plan, or, oh, I didn't do a budget, or, oh, I didn't look up and see that this, trademark, somebody already has my name and I've been using it and they're making me stop use it. Like some of these things that are happening in your business, it's not very glamorous, right? I understand that. And it's not as fun and it's not as pretty as getting new skincare. I get that, but it's one of the most important. Truly it is. It is the most important. And, you can have a really great sugar skills, you can focus on your balls like we talk about, but if your focus is not on your business, then you won't be around for very long. And my sweet friends, with a solid financial foundation, you will be able to make smarter decisions. You will be able to plan for your growth and just achieve the success that you deserve. You don't have to go get a side job. Work the job you have. And I promise you that you will be a sweet success story as well, like Kasey and myself and those that have come before us as well. And I really look forward I would love for you to let me know about your sweet success, because I would love to interview you for the show and maybe make that be one of your goals. But really, I want you to make being a sugar boss your goal for this year, because you deserve it. Your family deserves it. Your clients deserve it because you'll be less stressed and you'll be focused on them. And really, truly, that's what this life is about, is just making the best of it. So thank you for tuning into the Sugar Show. I want you to stay sweet, stay focused, and I'll see you next time.